Hi, folks. Welcome to It's Your Turn Now coaching program for political leaders and public office holders, where we talk about the simple framework, which stands for Self Improvement Model for Political Leadership Excellence. Now, in this video, we're actually talking about something very basic, very fundamental, before we dive into really look at the 21 factors that we have in the simple framework. The key question that we are trying to address today is why actually politicians don't want to get coached. So it sounds like a big irony that even before we have actually gone through the framework itself, I really just wanted to right size your expectations and share with you the reality that coaching for politicians generally is something very new. It's unheard of. I'm sure you might have heard a lot about coaching for executives, coaching definitely for sports personalities, and sports teams have got coaches. But coaching for political leaders, politicians, it's there. I tell you that it's there are coaches who actually work with politicians. However, it's not that popular, it's not that widespread, and that's the whole purpose of this video today, that I wanted to share with you the key 6 reasons that I have found throughout my experience of working with various politicians, that why exactly they don't want to get coached. Okay, so as you can see on your screen, I have got 6 main reasons that I could find out, and I thought to share them with you. If you think that, well, there are more reasons than the one that I've shared with you, just write them in the comment sections below and let's have a chat. So first and foremost is just a lack of awareness, that some politicians simply may not be aware of the benefits of coaching, or may not fully understand how it can enhance their skills and performance. Okay, so there's simply a lack of awareness. They just don't know what they don't know. I remember some of them actually frowned upon the whole concept that coaching, what is that, and why are you talking to me? So you had to really start from that kind of a level, that there's a completely lack of awareness amongst the political leaders about coaching and how it can benefit them. Some did mention about trainings, for example, some trainings, public speaking or media training, etc., done by their respective parties. And some of the political parties have got a learning and development unit as well. But as you can imagine, they provide the trainings to kind of a one size fits all, and it's not really tailor made to each and every individual politician and their requirements and aspirations and their growth, their growth aspirations. Anyway, so there's a lack of awareness. The second reason why politicians don't want to get coached is limited resources, because coaching and training can be costly, and some politicians may just not have the necessary resources or budget to invest in such programs. So it's also not very high in their agenda. So naturally, the cost associated with training, the coaching, is just not earmarked. It's just not there in their kind of a personal or professional budget. The third reason is resistance to change, that some politicians are maybe resistant to coaching or training because they feel that they already possess the necessary skills and knowledge to perform the duties effectively. So it's a bit like a self-fulfilling prophecy, that they consider themselves as leaders of their communities or parties, and ministers and members of parliaments. They think, I'm already a leader. I'm here. I have been elected here for a reason, and why should I need to get coached? I don't think so. So that's naturally, they have an inertia to consider their self-development. The fourth reason is time constraints, because politicians often have demanding schedules and may find it challenging to allocate time for coaching or training sessions. It's a big one. They have their busy agenda and campaigning and various meeting people, and it's a hugely busy schedule. Carving out the time to get coached, it's very difficult. It requires a mindset shift. I must say, from my experience, it's not very easily conceivable by the politicians, and they always cite the excuse of not having enough time as the main thing to focus on their own development issues. Fifth is the political culture, that in some cases that there may be a prevailing political culture that does not prioritize or encourage coaching and training for politicians. So there's simply a big culture issue as well, and politicians are simply part of that culture where this kind of things are not heard of. This is not very common. And finally, there is a concern about media and opponents, where some politicians think that the media, the press, or the opponents, the political opponents, might perceive the self-development efforts like getting a coach as a weakness and consequently exploit it against them in the political battlefield. So, in other words, although some of the politicians might be aware of various options to develop themselves as leaders of their communities, or they might have developed an awareness that they need to do something different, or they need to do something new in order to kind of promote themselves to the next level of service for their community and country. However, there is this fear or concern that they have that if their engagements, or if their attempts to get coached or get trained on certain aspects of their leadership, that might be exploited by their opponents, or the media might just paint it in a different brush altogether. That also sometimes holds them back from actually taking the help from a coach. So these are the 6 main reasons that I wanted to share with you. Now, it's important to note, however, that while some politicians may not receive formal coaching or training, they may still acquire skills and knowledge through other means, such as on-the-job experience, mentorship, or self-study. I mean, if a politician would like to develop themselves, there are plenty of other ways, and they can be individually disciplined and kind of consistent in their own personal pursuits of self-discovery and development. Coaching is not the only way. It's just one of the ways to develop themselves as leaders. There are plenty of other ways as well. So the summary is coaching for business executives, the corporate world, executive leadership is very common, but coaching for political leaders, public office holders, is still something very new. The main 6 reasons that I've shared with you are: there's a general lack of awareness, there are limited resources, there's inherent resistance to change, time is a big problem with busy politicians, the culture, the political culture in the party or just in the country itself plays an important role about the suitability for coaching for politicians. And lastly, there's a concern about media and opponents, that how it would be perceived by them if a politician is interested to get a coach, basically. Okay, so there you go. I thought it's pretty important for you to also be aware that these are the kind of the bottlenecks that will stop a politician from actually going ahead and get a coach. You might be wondering, how do we overcome that? Well, I think I'll leave it for another video, sometime towards the end of this series. Okay. So until then, it's Shehzaad signing off, and from the next video onwards, I'm going to share with you each of the 21 factors that make up the simple framework, and I'll see you there in the next video. Until then, bye bye.